Hi, I'm Gemma Perry and welcome to Mooncake. So you've scored yourself an ESL teaching interview. Well, in today's video we're going to go through the top 10 most asked ESL interview questions. ESL teaching interviews can be intimidating, especially if you're interviewing for the first time. Most interviews are done online over Skype, which brings about added worries such as how to look good on camera. Make sure you check out my video on how to set up for your Skype interview. Then without further ado, let's get into answering the top 10 most asked ESL interview questions.
Could you tell me a bit about yourself, please?
Sure thing. So yeah, I'm Gemma, I'm 34 years old, I'm from the UK. In my spare time I like hanging out with my friends, maybe having a few drinky poos. I love dogs. I'm a Pisces. In this question, the interviewer is not so much interested in your answer, but rather your confidence, your enthusiasm, and your passion. Talk about your education, where you grew up, and your past work experiences. Well, my name is Gemma, I'm 34 years old, and I'm from the UK. I started my career working in sport and leisure management, where I learned lots of skills surrounding organisation and communication. But around 7 years ago, I decided I wanted to make a big change, and so I decided to move to China and I started my ESL teaching career. For the past 7 years, I've been working in kindergarten and I have taught ages from 3 all the way up to 6.
Could you tell me, what are some of your strengths?
Strengths. Okay, well, has to be I'm a very friendly person. When answering this question, try to avoid limiting your answer to 1 or 2 sentences. List your strength and then expand upon that with an example. Well, my biggest strength has to be my attention to detail. I really believe in planning and execution, and in my previous roles I would plan out my week and then review it as the week went on to make sure that I was completing all the tasks that I wanted to get accomplished.
And could you tell me some of your weaknesses, please?
Weaknesses? Well, I don't have much patience. I do get quite angry quite quickly. I suppose that's a bit of a weakness. It's probably my biggest weakness. Of course we all have weaknesses, but you want to try and highlight a weakness that could also be perceived as a strength. Well, because I'm so detail orientated, sometimes I try to accomplish everything at the same time, and then I realize there's not enough time to get everything done. So because of this, I do have to pay attention to my time management and make sure that I prioritize my tasks. What do I know about the company? Which company was this again? By asking this question, the interviewer is trying to find out how seriously you're taking the interview. Having some basic knowledge about the company can really impress, especially in the ESL job market. Well, I know that you follow a teaching methodology very similar to the Reggio Emilia philosophy, which actually is something that made me want to apply. I also know that you have several campuses across China, meaning that you're a large and well-established company.
And how well do you handle change?
Yep, I can handle change. Change is no problem. Never had a problem with change. Change is great. Love change. Change is brilliant. So great, yeah, definitely can handle change, no problem. Of course, we're all going to want to answer this question with a big yes. I can handle change. But simply saying so isn't enough. Expand upon your answer by giving an example where you've had to deal with a big change in either your personal or work life. Well, I think change can be challenging for everyone, and it's definitely your attitude towards that change that will make the difference. In my previous role, we had a change of principal, and that brought about a lot of changes as she had some ideas of how she'd like to run things and some curriculum changes she wanted implemented into the classroom. Now, during that period, my colleagues and I had to come together and work out the most productive way to implement those changes into the classroom without affecting our teaching. It was definitely a challenging period, but definitely something I grew from.
Why did you leave your last job?
Well, to be quite honest, they didn't pay me very much, and I know that I can get more money by coming here. And my boss was a bit of a dick. Like, he kept making me trying to teach stuff that I didn't really want to teach. Maybe you had a bad experience with your previous employer, or maybe you genuinely just want a higher salary. Both are good reasons to look for another job, but are not good answers to this question. Make sure when talking about your previous employer, you speak positively and don't talk about any ill feelings you might have. Well, I really enjoyed working at my previous role and I learned lots of new things there. However, right now I'm looking for a company in which I can continue growing, building upon those skill sets and improving my teaching ability.
What teaching experience do you have?
Oh, well, I don't have any experience per se. I've never actually taught before. So this will be the first time I'm teaching. Lots of people are interviewing to be an ESL teacher for the first time, and just because you don't have any classroom experience doesn't mean that you don't have skills or qualities that are relevant to the role. Be honest, but highlight the qualities that you think will carry into the role and try to let your passion and enthusiasm for the job shine through. Well, although I don't have much experience in the classroom, I believe I have the qualities it takes to be a good teacher, such as patience, dedication, and a genuine love for teaching. I've completed my TEFL certificate and I've been researching different teaching techniques online, such as TPR and Chants, to help get me ready for the first day in the classroom. I'm a fast learner and I have a genuine passion for teaching, so I've no doubt that I would be a great addition to your team. Qualities of a good teacher. Be good looking? Take some time to think about this question before the interview, because if you can't answer it, it means that you've not taken the time to think about what it really takes to be a teacher. Well, teachers are role models, and especially if working with younger children, we can have a huge impact on individual lives. Because of this, teachers need to be patient, compassionate, and instill confidence in their students. Well, yeah, if I had a student that was misbehaving, I'd get the assistant teacher to come over and deal with it. We have assistant teachers, right? Yeah, I'd get the assistant teacher to come over and deal with it. By asking this question, the interviewer wants to know that you have strategies in place to handle misbehaviour. Highlight that you have several different strategies in place and that you'd be willing to follow school procedure. Well, I think at first I would try and see what changes I could make to my lesson to engage that student. Secondly, I would try and understand where the behaviour is coming from. Are they bored because the English level is too high or too low, or are they just distracted by the person next to them? So depending on that, I would use a variety of different strategies to try and engage them back into the class, such as changing seats with someone else, having them sit next to me, or just involving them more in the games and activities.
Why do you want to come to China?
Well, you know, I hear that the pay is really good here and that it's easier to get a job than somewhere like Japan, so yeah, I definitely thought China's for me. Moving countries is a huge decision, and by asking this question, the interviewer wants to be sure that you've really thought it through. Well, I think China is a really interesting country with a fascinating history, and I think in the West we have quite a lot of misconceptions about China, and so I'm quite excited to come over and really find out what it's like for myself. So that's it, that's the top 10 ESL interview questions. I hope that they've been useful and that they will help you answer questions in your interview. If you're not sure how to get an interview, make sure you check out my video on how to find a teaching job in China. That's it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below, what would you like to know about teaching and living in China? Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe below for more videos from Mooncake.